Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and yeah, it's time for a new video. I'm not really sure if this is gonna be some sort of like a review video or if this is more like a weird, like my opinion type of video about two specific films, because I mean, obviously the third one is out in the cinema as we speak. I'm not really sure if it's the same, it's still in cinema over in the US or whatever, but I'm planning to watch it eventually. So I have actually rewatched both of these previous films in this series just to kind of like remind myself of how much I enjoy this series in general. I mean, obviously the first one probably much more than the second one, but still, let's talk about these films, shall we? So obviously, if the title hasn't already like told you what I'm going to talk about, let's talk a little bit about 28 Days Later. So you can sort of say this is sort of like a review video, but also like my opinion and like about what I think about these films in general. So 28 Days Later came out in the early 2000s, came out in 2002. And I believe this was one of the very first films that were shot with like a DV camera, because it has a very like filthy, ugly look to it. But I think that was sort of like intentional because it was meant to look really like dirty and really like sleazy in a way because of how like this subject matter and like what was really going on in this film. But this film is basically about Jim. He wakes up in this hospital. Before we get to that scene, though, we get to see the reason why we have this virus going on. So there's basically these people that have broken into like this lab, and they want to rescue these test monkeys, like lab monkeys, you can say. But they don't listen to this scientist because the scientist kind of warns them that you can't let them out because they're infected with this virus, the rage virus, they can call it. And then they don't listen, and then they let them out, and then they get infected, and then we get to Jim waking up at the in the hospital bed. And obviously he has no idea what's really going on. And then you have like this really atmospheric scene where he walks down the stairs and then out in the streets, and there's absolutely no one in sight anywhere. That scene in itself and the tiny little piece of music they used for that scene is just really, really great. Then eventually he realizes that there's some really weird things going on, because he gets into this church and he confronts this, not confronts, but he gets attacked by this priest who has been infected by the rage virus. And then he gets chased by other people with the rage virus, and then eventually gets rescued by Selena and her friend called, was it Mark, I believe? I have to double check on this one. Yeah, Mark. Yeah. So he gets rescued by both of those people, and they basically kind of like give him a little bit of information as to what really happened. And then from there, it's really like a fight for survival, really. I don't know what if I'm gonna say too much else about this film, because I mean, if you've seen the if you watch this video, you probably already know or like know about these films, and you probably have already seen some of these films before. But eventually Mark gets bitten, spoiler alert, and then Selena really um, uh, um, eliminates him, you can say. I don't want to say like that other word, but she eliminates him right away and tells Jim that, well, I would have done the same with you if you were infected as well. And then they walk for a while, and then they get chased by these rage people. I don't want to. You can sort of say they're like rage people. That's what I'm going to refer to them as. So they escape into this like apartment building, and then they get rescued by Frank and his daughter Hannah. And then Frank tells them that they need to do something and try to reach the military, because they do believe that the military might have the answer to these to the infection, and like maybe like some sort of like antivirus or whatever you want to call it, like antidote basically. So they go there, like try to reach that area, and then eventually they get to the military. And then once they get to the military, they realize this is maybe not as promising as they first thought. So yeah, Anyway, I'm not gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I mean, I almost feel like I've spoiled way too much about this film already, but I just wanted to tell you what I thought about some of these sequences and whatnot. But I would say this is a almost a near perfect film. I think the film kind of falters a little bit once they get to the military facility. I think some of those sequences were a little bit, I mean, sort of like drawn out in a sort of way. But other than that, I think this is an amazing film and great performances all around. I'm just so sick and tired of people saying that this is a zombie film, which is clearly not, because this is a virus film or like infection film. Zombies, I always say, zombies are people that have been dead and then they get kind of like resurrected in like voodoo style, like walking around like with literally like sluggish zombies, you can say. Sort of like some of those older Lucio Fulci films, basically, or like George Romero zombies. So yeah, this is an infection film. I don't care what anyone else say. That's my take on it. But I mean, if you do like those films in general, this is a highly recommended film, and I still really, really love this film, and it has such an amazing atmosphere to it all around. So, yeah, this still stands on a 9 out of 10 for me. Yeah, really entertaining. And then 5 years later, they released 28 Weeks Later. Now, this is actually just the Swedish title right here, if you wonder. So this film is, I mean, it's sort of like the same concept, but at the same time, this is sort of a standalone sequel, but at the same time, it has some connection with the first one, just by the fact that it's still like they have trouble with this virus. Or in the beginning of the film, we get to see Robert Carlyle's character and his wife. They live in this small little like sort of cottage with another like family, like some other people, and they basically talk about their kids, that they sent them away because they want them to be in safety, basically. And then obviously there's like this kid that knocks on the door. Some people say we shouldn't let him in because he could have been followed by other like infection, like rage people. But they let him in anyway, and then obviously there's another bang on the door, but this time it's not another kid. It is the rage people, or like the virus infected people. So then Robert Carlyle tries to escape along with his wife and this other kid, but then he realizes he probably doesn't stand a chance against these people, so he decides to bail out and basically escape for himself. So he kind of leaves his wife to her doom, basically. So we get to see him eventually escape, and then we cut to I'm not sure how much longer after that they cut to. I think it's like maybe like a couple of weeks later. But anyway, then we get to this city where they basically, the military basically tell them that they've created this society now with about 15,000 people, I believe, in this small controlled facility. Not a controlled facility, but a controlled like part of the town, like controlled area, you could say. And they also tell us that the virus is pretty much gone because all of the infected people have starved to death. So they believe that there's not really any virus left, basically, but they still want to make sure that there's no infection inside. So they have all of these like different types of controls to control that no people that are let into this area are infected. So yeah, and then obviously Robert Carlyle's character, he reunites with his two kids, and then the kids, for some reason, they decide to leave this area and sneak out and go back to their original home, or like their previous home, basically, just because the kid, the small little boy, he really feels sorry for himself that he doesn't have a picture of his mother, so he wants to go back to the house, and then he and his sister go back to the house, or like sneak out of this area just to get to that house. And then they discover that his mother is actually in this house, but she doesn't seem to be she is infected with this virus, but she's not really behaving like the other like rage virus people, basically. So So the military has followed them there, so they capture them and they capture the mother and they put her into like this facility where no one else can get into this room basically. So they wants to control all these things going on with that, with the mother basically, because they do suspect that she might have some sort of like way to be immune towards this virus basically. Um, so then after that, Robert Carlyle, for some reason, he gets to know about this, and then he decides to visit his wife in this facility. How that even happened, I have no idea why they couldn't have any type of security in that scenario, because he just basically walked in there, and then for some stupid reason he decides to kiss her, and obviously she's immune towards the virus in a certain way, but he's not, so he gets infected, and then he basically gets rid of her, eliminates her. And then all hell breaks loose, basically, and the virus is up again because Robert Carlyle's character escapes, and then he attacks or infects other like military people, and then the virus just spreads once again. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that for the storyline in itself. But I mean, as much as I kind of I really like this film, but at the same time I really despise it at the same time, because these kids, I mean, I would say also Robert, what's his name, Jeremy Renner's character is probably one of the most likable ones, and also the character of Scarlett. I don't remember the actress name at this point, but those are probably the two best characters in this entire film, because every other person in this film there is really, really annoying. Also, you have what's his name? The guy who rides the helicopter. Is it Idris Elba, I believe? Idris Elba. I'm not really sure if you can. Yeah, I think it's Idris Elba. Those three are really the main, like, the only likable characters in this entire film. These kids in this film really, really piss me off, because, to be fair, the entire thing could have been avoided if that stupid kid just forgot about that stupid picture and about his mother and all that. I mean, I know it's really weird to say that, because obviously he's a very like emotional when it comes to his mother and he really misses her. But I mean, would you really risk the entire like population to die because of that? Yeah, I don't understand why. I think that's just incredibly stupid, and I just despise these kids. I think they are just so extremely annoying, and every single thing they do are just really, they do everything wrong, and you constantly get tired of them. So at the same time, it's quite realistic as well, because that's probably something that would have happened in real life as well if there was something like this going on. So in that regard, it is realistic enough when it comes to that. So, but anyway, 28 weeks later, I rewatched it. I double checked what I had given this film on a rating of 1 to 10 before, and this one is still standing at a 6 out of 10. It is a good film, but there's so many stupid things, and especially if you compare it to the first one, this is just very, very much weaker than the first one. The first one I can rewatch over and over and over again. This one, it's probably going to take some time until I revisit this one once again. So, but anyway, yeah, 28 weeks later, there you have it. So I'm very curious to see what 28 years have in store for me, basically. I've constantly thought about this like over and over again. Like, they made 28 days later, and then 28 weeks later, and then now they made 28 years later. But I'm always thinking, what happened with 28 months later? Come on. That's probably going to be the next one in the series if they ever like make another one. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this particular video. I'm not really sure if you could say this is like a review video. This is more like a discussion video really about these films in general. So, but anyway, hope you enjoyed this particular video, and yeah, like, comment if you enjoy these films. If you don't enjoy them, what's your favorite film in the series so far? And yeah, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, if you liked my videos, go subscribe if you want to, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.